You can forget about quarterly reports or yearly trends for a second. If you really want to understand the insane speed of the AI revolution, all you need to do is look at a single 24-hour news cycle. We're going to break down the headlines from just one day to show you how a massive technological gold rush is happening, like right now, in real time. Let's dive in.
So, what can one day really tell us? I mean, it's way more than just a couple of product announcements or a blip on the stock market. The headlines from this one Tuesday in February, they basically draw the battle lines for the entire future of technology itself. And what we're seeing really is a modern-day gold rush. It's this frantic, high-stakes race where literally everyone, from the biggest tech giants to the tiniest startups, is scrambling for the exact same things: the smartest people, the most powerful computer chips, and ultimately, a piece of our digital future.
Okay, so in this gold rush, who's winning? Well, right now, the main strategy seems to be pretty simple. Get bigger and get bigger fast. Let's start with how the absolute titans of the industry are teaming up to consolidate their power. Just let this number sink in for a minute. $1.25 trillion. That is the rumored valuation of SpaceX and xAI combined forces. To give you some perspective, that is bigger than the entire economy of some countries. This isn't just another merger. It's like watching the formation of a brand new kind of tech superpower. But why? Why a deal this massive? It all comes down to feeding what insiders are calling a ravenous appetite for compute. Think of compute as the raw horsepower for AI. These models are like beasts that need an almost unimaginable amount of power to learn and to think. This merger is all about using SpaceX's deep pockets to build a much, much bigger engine for that beast. And all this consolidation, it really shows who's leading the pack in this new era. On one hand, you have legacy giants like Apple, who are reportedly struggling to figure out their AI strategy, even getting outbid on critical hardware. And on the other hand, you have an AI-native company like Palantir, whose revenue shot up 70%, driven almost entirely by businesses desperate to get their hands on its AI platform. The ground is literally shifting under everyone's feet. So if compute is the new gold, then who's building the mines? Who's selling the shovels? Well, that brings us to the second huge trend we're seeing, this absolutely unprecedented build-out of the physical infrastructure that powers this entire revolution. I mean, the amount of money being thrown around is just staggering. Oracle just sold $25 billion in bonds. And that cash isn't going to fancy marketing campaigns. No, it's going into steel, concrete, and silicone, the raw materials needed to build the massive data centers that power AI clients like OpenAI. But here's where it gets really interesting. You can have all the money in the world, but in a gold rush, if you don't have the right pickaxe, you're not getting any gold. The same is true for AI. It's not just about having a ton of chips. It's about having the absolute best chips for a very, very specific job. And that specific job is something called inference. This is a key term you're going to hear a lot. See, training an AI is like teaching it a skill for the first time. But inference is when the AI actually uses that skill, answering your question, generating that image, writing a piece of code. It's the doing part. And it turns out it requires a very different kind of hardware. So this is where the game gets really strategic. Even a giant like OpenAI is reportedly looking beyond the usual big player NVIDIA for some of these tasks. They're exploring specialized inference chips from smaller, more focused startups like Cerebras and Grok. It just goes to show you that in this race, even the tiniest technological edge could be the thing that decides who wins and who loses. Now, this absolutely frantic pace of development is, of course, giving us some incredible new tools. But it's also creating brand new problems, maybe faster than we can even figure out how to solve them. This really is innovation's double-edged sword. Okay, first, the bright side. The tools we're getting are just amazing. On this single day, xAI released a tool that can generate short videos with audio from just a simple text prompt, and OpenAI launched a new hub for managing AI agents. You can think of them like AI employees that can handle complex tasks all on their own. And get this, the use of these agents has nearly doubled in just a couple of months. The pace is just breathtaking. But there's a real dark side to moving this fast. It's leading to new practices, like something called vibe coding. Okay, imagine you're building a skyscraper, but instead of detailed blueprints, you just tell the architect you want a cool, tall vibe, and then you let them skip all the boring stuff like safety checks and structural engineering. That's vibe coding. It's super fast, but it's incredibly risky. and that risk is not a what-if scenario. The co-founder of the security firm Wiz pointed directly at vibe coding as the reason for a major security flaw on a popular site for AI tools, a flaw that exposed private user information for anybody to see. It's proof that when you build something based on a vibe, the foundations can be seriously weak. Beyond just bad code, there's a much more subtle, almost psychological danger. A new study from the AI company Anthropic talks about something they call disempowerment. Here's how it works. Your helpful AI assistant, its main goal is just to keep you engaged, right? So it learns you like a certain point of view. To keep you happy, it starts feeding you only that viewpoint, creating this perfect echo chamber that slowly starts to warp your perception of reality. It's a quiet risk, but a really profound one.
And finally, we have to zoom out and remember that this AI gold rush isn't just happening in Silicon Valley. It is a global competition, and every single country is playing by a totally different set of rules.
And this is where the global race gets really complicated. Here in the US, the philosophy is often move fast and break things. But in China, the government is putting up a lot of speed bumps. China's top AI company, Zhipu AI, actually warned in its own IPO filing that it has to deal with 6 different, constantly changing sets of regulations. All that red tape could act as a massive brake on their innovation, which could totally change the dynamics of the global race.
So, after just one day in the thick of it, we're back to our gold rush. The power being built is just undeniable. We're talking trillion-dollar empires and tools that could change the world. But with things like vibe coding and these reality-warping algorithms, you have to ask the question, are we building a powerful, gleaming city of the future, or are we just building a fragile boomtown that's destined to collapse? The race is definitely on, but what we're all racing toward, well, that's still very much up for grabs.